Welcome back to the news from Kazakhstan. I'm Marina Kim, bringing you the latest updates. Here are the headlines. Hepatitis A outbreak in Ekibastuz, 19 children hospitalized. Political party Adilet proposes Nursultan Nazarbayev resign from his position as the chairman of the ruling party Nuratan. Critical situation with coal is reported in southern and eastern Kazakhstan. Local residents wait in shifts for their quota of the fuel. An outbreak of hepatitis A is reported in Ekibastuz. The number of infected children has grown to 19. Over the weekend, another 3 pupils of the city school 11, now closed for quarantine, ended up in the hospital. Back on Friday, specialists reported that the facility in question has only one faucet for 900 children and no soap. The school's headmaster, caretaker and nurse have been all fined for violating the sanitary norms.
According to sanitary and epidemiology station, the agent of the disease was the unwashed watermelon consumed by one of the schoolgirls. The rest of the children got infected through the air. Now specialists believe that there could be even more infected in the area, as the incubation period of the jaundice lasts 1 month. Still, doctors say that the children are starting to feel better already, and 5 of them have been discharged already. The patients have been discharged, and we had a special meeting on the situation in Ekibastuz. There is a proposal to shift the school holidays there.
Political party Adilet proposes Nursultan Nazarbayev to resign from his post of the chair of the ruling party Nuratan. Adilet positions itself as constructive opposition and a party of lawyers. The proposal was made in Almaty during a roundtable on corruption attended by officials and representatives of NGOs.
The roundtable was organized by the party Adilet together with representatives of Nuratan, and the theme of the discussion was set as corruption. After the 1.5-hour-long talks and introduction of different proposals, the deputy chair of Adilet, Turgen Sadykhov, said that Nursultan Nazarbayev's resignation as the ruling party head will secure favorable anti-corruption grounds and transparent elections. It is necessary to give opportunity to all political parties so that they have equal terms on this political field in the fight for power, while the leader of the nation should become a true guarantor of the constitution above all branches of power and political parties. This is our base. Theoretically, this development is possible, believes political analyst Dasim Satbayev. The leader of the nation will be even able to benefit from this decision. If he would leave his post in Nuratan, it would be better for him, first of all because he would stand above the party system and represent an arbiter. Secondly, that would distance him from the criticism of Nuratan by ordinary citizens. However, the opponents of the current president do not believe in the sudden resignation of the president. Even if the leader of the nation will choose this combination, almost 800,000 members of the first president's party will not be left without his support. Thus, the resignation itself will not bring any changes and just might happen. Nuratan should be deprived of administrative resources, informational and financial support, thus forcing it to struggle for funds and opportunities to go on the air and fight for fair elections, like all other parties. This way, Nazarbayev will indeed show his tolerance towards other parties, as he loves to say. Experts feel that the presented by Adilet proposal was actually dictated by the authorities. Some say that the idea was already accepted by the head of state and spread on purpose, especially since the leader of Adilet never concealed his friendly relations with the head of state.
So far, the number of Nuratan members in the government only grows. Elections to local governments in 13 regions of the country were held this past weekend. According to the data of the Central Elections Commission, all 63 newly elected representatives are the members of the ruling party.
In total, 167 candidates were nominated and only 40 of them were unaffiliated. The voter turnout, according to the preliminary information, is estimated at almost 80%. According to the Central Elections Commission, in general, the campaign went in line with norms of the election legislation. No complaints or appeals have been submitted to the CEC so far. However, all prior attempts of oppositional parties to run for regional governments have failed. Therefore, in reality, the old members of Nuratan are simply replaced with new party functionaries.
Quite often, the work of party representatives with people ends right after elections and the promotion of their political programs. Here is what people on the streets had to say about the current work of the incumbent members of parliament and local councils.
The efficiency can be evaluated by what we see, and we see nothing at all. I don't vote for MPs because nothing good comes out of it. We just don't trust them, that's all. We have peace in our land because the MPs don't sleep at night and think about the country's problems. I don't see any improvement anywhere. The same faces are shown all the time, and they express their opinions, nothing more. They don't do anything. Our parliamentarians just want to be elected and then disappear completely. They don't even attend sessions.
The entire last month was very stressful for officials after the president signed a decree on the optimization of the state apparatus. The layoffs finally arrived on November 1st, with 26,000 or 15% of all officials losing their jobs at once. This is the first staff cutback of this magnitude ever implemented in Kazakhstan.
Starting November 1st and until the end of the year, a sixth part of the 26,000 people army of Kazakh state servants will lose their jobs. Supposedly, this will allow the budget to save up to $130 million of state money annually. The cutbacks will not affect traffic policemen, as only clerks will be sacked. The head of the traffic police department, Kairat Tanibekov, believes that the layoff of policemen will lead to chaos on the country's highways. We don't have enough personnel already. For instance, out of 93,000 kilometers of roads we have, 23,000 are interstates, and they are patrolled by only 148 road policemen. It is simple math. Just divide 23,000 by 148 and see what you get. While some agencies are sacking staff and report about fulfilling presidential orders, others found a way how to evade the cutbacks. The State Service Agency has even shared its tactics. We try to approach this order carefully and with balance, thus we will not actually fire anyone already employed. Instead, we will decrease the number of vacancies and reassign the less important staff. This way, we took the human factor into consideration. It should be said that this is the first cutback campaign of this scale in the history of the sovereign Kazakhstan. The cabinet calculated that in the last 10 years the number of state servants has doubled and has reached 170,000 people. It is now important to start an inverse process. The Prime Minister says that sacked civil servants could join the small and middle-scale businesses and social sector. There is a possibility to create small and middle-scale businesses, develop school networks and preschool institutions. We will try to create conditions for these people. It is of course not always possible, but we will do our best. Experts claim that the struggle of officials against their own apparatus looks like the fight of bees with honey. They also fear that the hard-working civil servants will be fired, while those useless will remain at their posts.
A single-person protest action was held on Monday by a pensioner from Astana. Ibrahim Kazabayev, exasperated with his meager pension that cannot cover his expenses for food, medicine and utilities, attempted to picket the presidential palace. Unsurprisingly, the police was fast to react to the protest.
Pensioner from Astana Ibrahim Kazabayev organized the protest action in front of the presidential palace, holding a poster saying death sentence by age. He says that the authorities of the country have sentenced him to a miserable survival. The pension of $100 is enough only to pay for public utilities and bread. As a result, Kazabayev now suffers from tuberculosis. To prove it was caused by the actions of officials, he attached a certificate from the tuberculosis clinic to his poster. There are 2 to 3% or 15,000 people in the same situation as I am, and the state is not raising our pension, thus we don't have enough means to even buy food. The raise of pension by 25% was just a fraud. The Minister of Labour and Social Protection has nothing substantial to say about the issue, only making excuses that despite the crisis, the state went for unprecedented measures and actually increased pensions. In addition, the authorities promise another increase of 30% next year. The situation of people whose pensions do not exceed $100 will be revised. However, no deadlines are set and pensioners are outraged, as every day counts for them. We have set up a working group to study all categories of pensioners. We are learning about the situation on different levels, and this is our primary task to resolve the problem. The single-person protest actions are an eyesore of Astana authorities. In summer of this year, a musical protest was organized by a street musician against the violation of his labor rights. Lyubov Zotova is another pensioner who talked about the violation of her civil rights and organized the single-person action on March 8th. Ibrahim Kazabayev's protest was cut short by the police, who asked the pensioner to leave, as otherwise he would have been arrested.
A bigger protest was held in Astana by the real estate investors who picketed the Supreme Court asking for a meeting with the head judge Musabek Alimbekov. 200 activists of the movement for worthy housing wanted to talk to the official about the lack of progress on dealing with their issues.
The real estate investors are dissatisfied with the decisions of the city and district courts of Astana, which violate their constitutional rights. The shareholders claim that the decisions of a different process are taken not in their favor, while trials are conducted without notifications. Last week, the activists already met with representatives of the Civil Trials Board and advisor to the Supreme Court chair, who promised to evaluate the problems of real estate investors in detail in the end of October. There's no time to wait. We have to appeal to the court chair because there are procedural violations and the right for justice is being violated. That is why we came here today, because every participant wants to find out the position of the Supreme Court.
Residents of the village Bozaryk in southern Kazakhstan ask regional authorities for water and electricity. Around 1,000 people still live in uncivilized conditions and now threaten a hunger strike unless local authorities fail to address infrastructure issues.
If we will not be provided with electricity, we will organize a hunger strike. Extreme measures for public utilities. For already 5 years, the southern Kazakhstan village of Bozaryk is not supplied with water and electricity. But now almost 3,000 people got used to manage without refrigerators and lamps. You probably realize how tough it is to survive without electricity. We have children and old people, so we also want to live normally. Bozaryk villagers are forced to purchase water brought in tanks from the neighboring village. Kurmanbay Mustafayev says that the water brought can be used only for the cattle and irrigation, while his family has to use this water as well. Our children left to drink dirty water. The tractor brings 1 tank with 3 tons of water and we buy it for $12. It is enough only for 3 to 4 days. The authorities keep feeding promises to the villages. They are even ready to write a letter to monopolists. As the administration, we write letters to all corresponding bodies. The villages were supported by the unregistered political party Alga, which collected letters from local residents and promised to help them reach the cabinet. The roads are terrible, the cars cannot even pass there. People buy water, children get sick often, and there are no telephone lines to call for ambulance. It is different when just 20 to 30 people suffer, but in this case there are several thousand people. The local administration claims that last year $350,000 were allocated to solve the problem with drinking water and assure that it was enough just to fix 1 water pipe. In order to continue the work, it is necessary to wait for the next year.